own goals seal the deal for Arsenal. It was nerve-wracking. It was bad sometimes tonight for the Gunners. They weren't at the races, but they got the job done. 2 goals inspired by Bukayo Saka. He won't get the assist officially. Wolves, though, I thought put in a stellar display tonight. They probably won't get the credit they deserved. A lot of controversy about the first goal. Was it offside? We are going to cover all of that on the Full Fan Highlight Show for you this evening. Please hit like buttons if you haven't done so already. Get the subscribe button hit. If you don't subscribe to the Football Terrace, turn on the bell notifications as well. But my word, that was exhilarating at the end. Obviously, a lot of the Football Terrace group chats, they were just popping off when Arokodare scored late in the game. And you think, have they done it again, Arsenal? Is their grip at the top of the league table crumbling? City can go joint top. If not, I think they could have actually gone part. Is the goal difference better? I don't even know. I don't know. I'd have to go and look. At that. Would the goal difference have been better? It would have been. If that was drew, it ended 1-1. Both would have been on plus 19. If City win tomorrow, they would have gone top of the league, and a lot of conversations would have been happening. A lot of conversations are still going to happen, but Arsenal get themselves over the line. They get that job done. Now, before we go any further, before we talk any more football, it is Christmas time and people are spending a lot of money. I've got something that might be able to save you a little bit of cash as well. And that is I'm partnering with Coopert. Coopert are, listen, they are a company that can get you lots and lots of discounts on products. All you have to do is add the extension into Chrome or whatever browser it is that you use. They have thousands of coupons for hundreds of different brands that you can apply when buying clothing, sports goods, etc., whatever it may be over the course of this Christmas period. It's very easy to use. All you have to do is click on the link that's in the live chat or in our description. Get yourself signed up. It's just like this. You get the Cooper, as in coupon and expert, put it into your extension, and it is absolutely fantastic. There's so many different Christmas deals. There's so many different brands that you can use, and we'll show you their website now as well so you can see it. And it depends on where you shop, but you can see all the different brands they work with here, from Nord, Vistaprint, Disney. There's so many. I can't Gap. All and got stuff with Adidas. They're different hotels. So when you're doing your Christmas shopping, you want to make sure that you're using Coopert to get as many discounts as possible to save yourself as much money as possible as well. You can either download their app, or you can do what I do, which is put the extension into Google Chrome. So then when I'm shopping, if that website has any offers, I can use it straight away. So I know you all want to talk Arsenal right now, and I understand it. I want to talk Arsenal. I want to talk Wolves. I want to talk Premier League. But Christmas is coming. A lot of people are spending money, and I want to try and save you as much as possible. So use the link in our description or pinned into our live chat at Cooper and save yourself as much money as possible. It's got a 4.7 rating out of 5 by Trustpilot as well. So a very respectable company. I wouldn't work with them if they didn't have a score as high as that. So go and check that out. Whether you do that now or at the end of the show, it's entirely up to you. But Cooper, go get your discounts right now using my link. But wow, that was an exhilarating game. That was a crazy game. It truly was. Here, this is a shit win is still a win. Hate watch unsuccessful. True. Terry, that's the story of my life. That's exactly why this club is my life. I love this club. In French, I can't read the putain de boudel de merde. That means shit at the end, right? I know that word, I think. Will Arteta ever learn this happens when you sit back in a close game? Definitely didn't learn this from Pep. Come on, you gooners, haters in the mud, is what Luke Skywalker says here. Poor performance from Arsenal. Teta's second 1-2 subs were great. Boys look good, but gave Wolves too many lines to come in. Luck to walk away with all 3 points. Winning by own goals, that's not sustainable. Very true. Please, can Arsenal give me 6 numbers between 1 and 59 to play in the next lottery. Fair play to Wolves. They were miles the better team. Well, I wouldn't say Wolves were the better team. I think Wolves had a game plan and made it work. But look, for me, when it comes to this game, it just timestamp where we are in the show as well, so people can come back to these specific moments. For me, Saka might have just won Arsenal the Premier League. And before you go crazy, before we go mad, before we run up into the comment section, let me finish talking first. Do yourself a favor. Like the show if you haven't liked already. Subscribe, hit the hype button, get that all done. Why do I say this? Arsenal are in a blip. Arsenal have not been at their best over the course of the last 6 games in the Premier League. The draw away to Sunderland, they weren't at the races against Chelsea, they were off it against Aston Villa and lost, and they were nowhere near their best today. Absolutely nowhere near their best. There was a lack of tempo, there was a lack of cohesion, there was a lack of cutting edge. There was a great moment that brings this to life where Saka plays a brilliant ball across the 6-yard box. Gyokeres hasn't had enough service at the club, there's no doubt, but he should have been there. He was half a yard too slow, he was half a yard off the pace, and that was Arsenal almost all night. Half a yard off the pace. But the reason why I say Saka, if you actually go back and listen to what I said may have just won Arsenal the league. Because if they go level on points, if Man City win tomorrow and they go level on points, the blip has really cost them. I have no doubt in my mind that Arsenal will get back to performing to a much higher, a much more consistent level and go on a really good run of winning games. I believe that's far more likely than the last 4 or 5 matches to continue. You may disagree, but then we can agree to disagree. You see it one way, I see it the other. I don't personally care to debate it. I'll listen to your opinion. I'm just not going to debate it. Maintaining that 5-point, well, it's going to be at least 2 points if City win tomorrow, but putting that 5-point advantage out there, putting that pressure upon City at this stage. If Arsenal go on to win this league title, it may just be tonight. It could be other games, it could be other moments, but it may just be tonight that Arsenal fans, when they're going back over the season, because I know you do this and I've done this, whenever you've won a cup competition, a Champions League, a league, it's amazing to go back and watch the games again. This might be the night where they were off the pace, not quite at it, nowhere near their best, will be nullified by the worst team in the league. All the components to get bantered, ripped into, laughed at, discredited. They still found a way. And yes, they were own goals. But let's be honest, the corner from Bukayo Saka was amazing, almost went straight into the goal. Hits the goalkeeper. Fortuitous in that regard, but if it doesn't hit him, it's going to come out. Someone's going to tap it in. The winning goal, it's an own goal because, again, the ball in from Bukayo Saka is amazing. And this is where stats do let us all down. Because Bukayo Saka doesn't get any assists for tonight. But yet, if he plays a 2-yard pass to somebody 40 yards out and they score a 40-yard screamer, he gets an assist. Like, I actually think sometimes you should get assists for own goals if we're being honest about who created that chance. And it might just be, as I say, Arsenal come back to this game, they come back to this moment, they come back to this night at the end of May and say, do you remember when we were close to losing our grip and our advantage at the top of the table? We were going through that bad patch of games and performances, and that own goal happened. That Mosquera own goal, that cross from Bukayo Saka, this game here might be etched into folklore at Arsenal. A game they won in a title-winning season where they didn't score a goal and had one shot on target, I believe, in the entire game. I think it was actually 2 in the end, looking at the stats. This could be that game. And there is a lot to criticize Arsenal on tonight. And it doesn't need me, although I will say my piece, doesn't need Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville. Arsenal fans will hold court themselves and they'll be frustrated. Conversations around Victor Gyokeres have to be had. Is it right to be playing him at this particular moment? Is Zubimendi struggling right now? Is a change there potentially needed? Why do Arsenal keep sitting too deep in these close? Why are they not going for that second goal? Why are they not being a little bit more attacking in those phases and maybe being a little bit too negative and inviting that pressure on? It reminded me of the Sunderland game. These conversations must be had. But winning these games is so important. I look at these last 6 matches, 18 points were available, and Arsenal have walked away with 11 points from them. That for a really bad period, considering 3 of those games are what Paul Scholes considers the big games as well, isn't particularly bad. The only time this becomes a real problem is if the performances don't improve. If the performances don't go back to what they were like 3 or 4 weeks ago. As I've already said, I believe that will happen. In terms of some players tonight for Arsenal that I want to speak on, first of all, I mentioned him already, I'll say it again, Bukayo Saka. I thought it was a constant threat and a constant thorn in the side of Wolverhampton Wanderers tonight. Didn't give up, didn't say die, carried on pushing. And it doesn't matter that he doesn't get the statistics. It doesn't matter that he doesn't get the official GA and output. Nobody who understands and knows football at any particular moment would say anything other than that was inspired by him. I think tonight overall, up until they conceded, I mean, look, I was full of praise for Nkapie again today. Played in a couple of different positions tonight because of the injury to Ben White. Poor in the end for that goal. I think he just sits back a little bit too deep. In fact, as the Wolves strikers pushing him back, was just step up and make him offside and stay in line with your teammates. You didn't need to engage at that particular point because he's in an offside position. And what's he going to just leave him? Don't be distracted by him. But you sat back, you got goal side, made him onside, and it gave him the opportunity to score the goal. I thought it was another good performance from Declan Rice, dropping into a deeper role. Did very, very well indeed. I was impressed with the substitutions, if I'm being honest. Trossard again. Like Martinelli just had one of those off nights for him, but Trossard came on and was so much more direct. Probably should have got on the goal sheet as well. And I also was really impressed with Gabriel Jesus when he came on. I know he didn't get the winner, but you know what? He's had a torrid couple of years at Arsenal with injuries more so than anything else. Worked his backside off to come back. And I felt that when he came on, he just gave them a presence. And in fact, if you go back and look when they were sitting deep just before the equaliser, it was Gabriel Jesus. And maybe this stems from a player who has won major trophies, won the Premier League, shouting for his players to get up the other end of the pitch. And they really should have listened to him because I don't think that goal happens if Arsenal push 5, 10, 15 yards further up the football pitch. But overall, look, Gooners will be angry with elements tonight. They should be over the moon with the win. If you're not over the moon with the win, I can't wait to read and understand why you're not. But you may, as I've already said, you may just come back to tonight in a few months' time, maybe the end of May, and go, maybe that was the night. Maybe those 3 points there made the difference. Maybe the extra pressure it now puts on City because they've got to win to keep the gap to 2 changes everything. Maybe City go into the game thinking, we win, we go top. That extra incentive pushes them over the line. So important in a title race. So exciting for us as neutrals. I can't wait for the Palace City game tomorrow. Now it's going to be even more enthralling after this as well. A lot of people do want to speak about the offside of Bukayo Saka. Was he in an offside position? Yes, he was. He was in an offside position. Does that mean he was offside? I'm going to read something to you. So when being in an offside position, was he interfering with play? What interfering with play is if this is what it says on the FA's website here. If you run from an or in an offside position and impede an opponent's ability to play the ball or block their path, it's an offence, even if you don't touch the ball. If you receive the ball or if the ball deflects or rebounds off of you. So from my point of view, that was considered no interference because yes, he was in an offside position and you could argue, well, the defender wouldn't have cleared the ball if he wasn't in an offside position. We've had this debate many times. It doesn't matter what it makes a defender think. Defender's played the ball. He hasn't been impeded. Bukayo Saka hasn't challenged for the ball, hasn't touched the ball, hasn't stopped that defender from getting to the ball, hasn't physically touched them. Therefore, it isn't offside. It is one of those contentious ones, though. And I understand why a lot of us want the rules changed on that, especially when you concede corners from it and you think, well, should the offside flag have gone up? Until they change that law, they can't give it. So for me, a lot of people saying Wolves were robbed. That's your opinion, that's your opinion. But I'm reading the law here. He doesn't stop the Wolves defender getting to the ball, doesn't physically touch him, doesn't touch the ball doesn't deflect or rebound off of him. So what you need to do, other than say, well, he distracted the defender, distracting a defender from an offside position isn't an offside offence. We all know they lied about the Donnarumma goal, the Van Dijk one. That's been proven since. You need to tell me why. I can't wait to hear what you've got to say, but you need to tell me why. Do me a favor, please, if you haven't done so already, and hit that like button. Get yourself subscribing as well to the channel. But Arsenal with a massive, massive win tonight. All right, let's take a look at some of your comments that have come through here. I've seen teams in the past win the title after dropping points to a last place team. Today was concerning, but not title concerning. Arsenal fan here. You're being too nice. We were shit. Well, look, I'm going to be talking to the panel a little bit later, and there's going to be some tough conversations to be had. I don't think you were good today. I agree. I mean, I didn't think you were good at all. I think Wolves deserved a lot of credit. I think Wolves were very hard to break down. But as I said already, you were off the pace. The tempo was poor. We're going to be getting into a conversation about Gyokeres on the show as well, and why Arsenal in a number of games recently have sat far too deep in the latter moments of games that were close. We're going to be getting into all of that on the show this evening, my friend. All the tears are flowing is what someone says here. Terry, much love and respect to you. I'm here for your positivity. Please tell me that was a champion's mentality. Well, look, I mean, I haven't used those words tonight. That isn't how I felt. But what went through my mind when that goal went in is I remember a game Man United played at home against Aston Villa, a better team than Wolves, when that happened. I remember, I want to say it was in the 07-08 season. It might have been 08-09. We're going back many years, away against Wigan, a really poor team at the time. And we were so bad all game. And it was Michael Carrick from the edge of the box, banged in a rasper very late in the match, again in a title-winning season, and so on and so forth. And you go back, and there'll be City fans that remember these types of wins. There'll be Liverpool fans that remember these types of wins, whether in the 70s, 80s. There'll be older Arsenal fans that remember these types of wins in the Invincible season in 97, 98. These games happen, and there are things that Arsenal fans will go in on their team on. They will. That Gyokeres is going to be a big talking point tonight, sitting too deep. There'll be loads of conversations, but overall, I'm looking at a team that I think is good enough to win the league, who had a really bad night and still won the game. I'm not going in personally that hard. I'm really not. And breathe. I didn't need that stress. The stress. It didn't need to be stressful. Only Saka got out of first gear today. Wolves did well playing 1-9-1 formation. We deserved this win. I didn't wake up today thinking we'd score all the goals at the Emirates. Yeah, Wolves scored 3 goals at the Emirates today. I'll be honest with you, Matthew. This is what I would say about it as well, though. It was a very resolute and a very stern performance from Wolves. And you could argue they got the game plan right to a certain degree. At no point did you go cavalier. When you played Man United, as soon as we scored the second goal in the second half, you just stopped playing football and we had all the space to work in. Tonight, until the last kick of the game, you made it really hard for Arsenal. The problem is, for Wolves at the moment, and I hope you take this with the respect I mean it in, as soon as you do start to open up and you leave a little bit of space, you can be got at against most teams in the Premier League. So if you sit 11 men behind the ball, you might not lose, but you're not going to win many games. And that's the conundrum now for Wolves. Haters be salty in the chat. Come on, you gooners. That was so dreadful, Terry. Listen, I understand why gooners will say that was dreadful. It's your team. I'll be honest with you. This is also what maybe I've got to do here. I loved it. In one of the group chats I'm in, we were ripping into Anton at halftime. Like, I actually quite like Gyokeres. He's not doing very well, but even I was joining in just to wind Anton up. Do you know what I mean? I think I even called Gyokeres a fat to wind him up, just to wind him up, right? Just having a bit of fun with it. He was saying, oh, my chest is hurting. I was like, yeah, so's Gyokeres every time he sprints. I was like, come on at full time and bring Gyokeres a sandwich. But yeah, look, we're having a lot of fun with it. And when the equaliser went in, I was like, wow. And then the winner happens. I'm in a good mood as a football fan watching an exciting, exhilarating game. Arsenal fans are going to feel different. I completely and utterly get that. City winning, Terry, not even close. Arsenal is bad. They've not been great the last 5-6 Premier League games. I would agree with you. But again, I'm not going to use the last 5-6 games as a barometer, because in that same 5 or 6 games, I've seen Man City have a 5-1 lead and almost draw the game 5-5. I've seen City throw away leads at home to Leeds. I've also seen City look fantastic. In that same period, Arsenal had a couple of decent games, been fantastic in the Champions League. So for me, I don't think any one team's running away with the league this year. And City seems to be going into a nice little phase in the Premier League. Let's see how they do tomorrow against Crystal Palace. I wouldn't be shocked if you drop points in that game. I then think you win your next 4. It's going to be really close. The only reason I made Arsenal marginal favourites is because they had a 5-6 point lead a few weeks back, and it's a marginal lead. But do I think Arsenal were a bad team? No, you're going too far. Do I think City are a bad team? No, that would be going too far. Own goal. Own goals, loads of them. Deserved 2 assists or goals. Saka, the architect. A shit win is still a win. Hate watch, unsuccessful. Depends on who you are, to be fair. Calling Arsenal shit might feel good. Your shitter team is below us in the table. Sucks to suck. Collectively, we were not good today and still won. Come on, you gooners. That's from Cleo Gell. You're giving Arsenal more praise than you gave Man United, because you're removing the context of the entire season and situation, aren't you? Aren't you? So, for instance, if I have 2 salesmen that work for me and they both got to sell cars, salesman A, okay, whose name is Arsenal, he hits his targets almost every single week. And what happened this week, he had a really bad start to the week and didn't sell any cars. And then last minute on a Friday, hit his target. And I was like, got away with it this week, but well done. I'm not going to go too hard on him because most weeks he hits his target. Where with salesman B, who's called Manchester United, most weeks he isn't hitting his target. So when he does have a week when he hits his target, I say well done, but I don't get carried away because I know next week he's probably not going to achieve what he's meant to achieve, what he's paid to do. Can you see the fundamental difference between those two things? Can you see the difference in context? And equally, like I said, Arsenal fans, I'm not going to be angry at what Arsenal did today. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I enjoyed the game and the spectacle. I'm not emotional about it. With Man United, I am emotional about it. So there's a fundamental difference in that approach. Kenny, I hope that makes complete sense to you, my old friend. Shit, but got the 3 points. Wolves deserve credit. Yeah, Wolves do deserve credit today. Wolves do deserve a lot of credit today. 110%. I'm 50-50. Should the tackle on Miles Lewis-Skelly have been a red? I mean, that was far more contentious than the offside, in my opinion. I think VAR just about got it right because he does pull out. He's trying to stop himself. That saved him. If it had been any higher on Lewis-Skelly's leg, it would have been a red card. But it was a very poor tackle. It was one of those ones that you probably would call an orange tackle. By the way, if he was sent off, I wouldn't have gone, that's the most shocking decision in the world. But I think VAR just about got that one right, to be honest with you. Eze Haifa almost killed Wolves player, no VAR. Yeah, look, I thought that was a booking. If I'm being honest with you. Completely accidental. I understand that there wasn't force going through it. I think if he goes through his head, like goes through him with his studs, I think it's a red card. It kind of grazes him. For me, I was surprised there was no yellow card offence for me. Pressure is getting to Arsenal. Let's be honest, you can't depend on shit Wolves side scoring 2 own goals. Other teams won't be kind. This is pressure. Terry, be honest with them. Yeah, I mean, it could be pressure. You're right. I mean, I think it's more a bad patch than pressure. I think they're just going through a period of the season that happens to all teams, whether you become champions or come second, where you're not quite at the races. There's things to criticize. There's things to praise. They haven't been great. But I don't necessarily think it's pressure, personally. I don't think it's pressure right now. I just don't think they're in a good run of form right now in the Premier League, which I actually think is more daunting than the pressure, to be fair. Saka didn't even close down his man for the goal. I'll have to go back and watch it, to be fair. What on earth was that pathetic excuse of a performance? Gyokeres was embarrassing. Apart from Saka and Trossard, everyone in the attack was horrible. When the panel come out, I'm going to say this so they can all hear me. I'm going to give it a number of you like sort of 2 or 3 minutes to have your say in the game, but we are going to talk Gyokeres. That's a talking point. So try not to go on your own soliloquy about him, because we're going to bring that up as a talking point for the panel to discuss. I also want to discuss Arsenal sitting deep really late in games where they're only narrowly winning. I think they did it too much against Sunderland, Villa, and now again today at home. So if you're thinking of talking about that, save it until the group discussion, please, or I'm just going to cut you off. I'm going to be ruthless, because I want to have those conversations as a group. Especially, I can see you, Brandon. Mr. I'm going to speak for 55 minutes. I can see you. Oh, I'm glad my cold is going out. It does make me feel a bit better when the cold's going. Right. Let's do this here. Sorry, my people. Well, I'm going to bring the panel on now. I'm just timestamping everything on my screen. Bear with me a second, everybody. Let's take this off. Not my shirt. Don't worry about that. Right. Let me get my earphones on. Right, they're on. And I can start bringing people out now. Let me move myself over to here. We got backstage. We got Anton. We got Brandon. We got Jason. We got Cal. We got Sparx as well with us here. Gentlemen, welcome back to the channel this evening. I hope you're all doing well and doing good. Sorry, there's one thing I haven't read. Yes, Brandon, what are you here to say, bro?
Deary me, tell.
He hasn't even done his hair, look.
Well, where do we start with that, boys? We can sit here and say we're happy with the win. All right, it's a win. Shit. But let's not gloss over that performance. That was pathetic. It was just... It reminded me of not last season, because obviously we didn't compete for a league title last season, but the 2 seasons before that. Yeah. Pressure. The pressure's on, and all of a sudden, Arsenal don't turn up, no matter who it is. And let me just say this, right? I've watched a lot of Wolves this season. They are terrible. Terrible. 2 points they've accumulated this season, 2. And we go into that game, right? I didn't like the lineup. Let me put that out there, because I feel that against Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have accumulated 2 points, you don't need Declan Rice in the midfield. You don't need a double pivot of effectively 2 6s in that midfield. We're going to dominate the ball. So why can't you play Odegaard and Eze together? Why? Why can't you put more creativity in that midfield? Right? The other thing, Noni Madueke scores 2 goals in midweek. Doesn't get a kick today. What's that about? Talk about rewarding a player for his good performances, and he doesn't even get on the pitch today. Yeah? Pathetic performance after pathetic performance across that pitch today. It was awful. But do you know what? There's one thing that always culminates in all of this. Yeah, and this happens every single season. As soon as we face a team that are struggling at the bottom, that put 10 men behind the ball, we can't break it down. Now, why is that? Because a couple of seasons ago, right, you could sit there and say, we haven't really got the quality. You can't sit there and say that now. A couple of years ago, you could say, well, we haven't got the added quality to come off the bench and change the game. We haven't got the added quality and the right profile of players to come off the bench and make an effect. You can't say that now. This guy, it doesn't matter who we give him, doesn't matter what profile of player, how much money we spend, every time we face a low block, we struggle. Why? Why are we relying on 2 own goals to beat Wolverhampton Wanderers today at home? It ain't fucking good enough. And that's just the end of that. Our first shot on target, 2 shots on target against Wolves today, bearing in mind we dominated in terms of possession and everything else. And basically we sat in front of their box, which they, defended very well. However, 2 shots on target. Are you mad? Why is nobody shooting on sight? What's going on here? Why has it taken until the 65th minute for us to have a shot on target? Why? What are we doing?
Brandon, what do you put it down to? What do you think was wrong with Arsenal today? Why do you think the tempo was so slow? Why do you think you struggled to break them down? What do you put that down to yourself?
It's the same thing it always is, Tel. It's the way that we are designed to play under this manager. Right?
What?
Look, I'll give you an example. Yeah? Eberechi Eze at Crystal Palace would have took that ball in that midfield and drove, through players. No matter whether you had...
told him not to.
What do you mean? Who told him not to?
Told him not to drive through players.
He picks up that ball and he does exactly the same thing that Odegaard does. Where do you think that tactic comes from? Where do you think that comes from? As I've said, it doesn't matter who this guy gets and what players we bring into this club. Effectively, we end up doing the same thing, right? And it doesn't work when you're trying to break down a low block. We've seen it time and time again. We're not going to do this revisionism again. Of we might look back at this. We perform really badly, but we might look back at this in May and go, do you know what, that game? Yeah, remember when Reece Nelson scored a last-minute winner against Bournemouth, and we're all sitting there going, "Cool, we didn't perform very well today, but we might look back at this in May." Guess what happened? We didn't win anything, right? Guess what happened when Jorginho scored a last-minute winner against Aston Villa, right? We look back on that again. Did we win it in May? No, we didn't. We can't keep doing this. We cannot keep doing this, right? And I know you don't want to talk about Gyokeres just yet, Tel, but let me just point this out, right? Our goalkeeper had more touches in open play than our striker. How is that possible?
Well, to be honest, the thing is,
the only players that deserve any credit for today is Bukayo Saka, Leandro Trossard, and Gabriel Jesus when he come off the bench. The rest of them, shit. Absolute crap, right? I looked at that lineup when it first came out. Like I said, I didn't like it, right? But I thought, at least we'll get the game, pretty much fucking finished by half time, and maybe we can bring some of these players off and rest them again. What are we doing? What are we doing here? But well done, we won the game. It's all right. Don't worry.
I understand.
There's none of us sat here going, we're made up with that performance. None of
I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are.
You kind of just about did. Were you not? You're basically overawing, basically going, we're going to glaze over it, this, that, and the other. Nobody's even spoken yet. And you basically said everybody's going to glaze over it. Nobody's glazing over anything. We can all see that there's faults in that performance. So to basically go off like that is just crazy. But there's individual performances that just aren't good enough.
100%.
But the manager didn't go out and basically say perform crap for 90 minutes, did he?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Hang on. I've heard this a number of times this season. Arsenal have the best squad in Europe. Arsenal have quality depth. Yeah? Quality depth. Right? Look at them players that played that game today. Right? We had Eze. We had Rice out there. Zubimendi was out there. Saka was out there. Martinelli off the back of scoring midweek. Right? Why do we continue to play the same way when it comes to breaking down low blocks? That only comes and stems from one person, my friend. Because how can you keep interchanging these players, having different players on the pitch in a different season, and we continue to play the same way and we continue to struggle. That comes from the manager.
First of all, I disagree. I disagree. First of all, because Arteta obviously didn't want them to play like that. That's why we subbed. We had 3 subs at like 60 minutes. And he never does that. Arteta doesn't just sub off that many players all at once. It was pretty obvious that the players were also having pretty bad performances. I think Declan Rice had a bit of a stinker today. He's usually a lot better than this. Yeah. I don't think you can just throw this performance at the feet of Arteta 100%, because some of the players did in fact just let us down. Sometimes that happens in these games. This was one of the worst performances I've seen from the club this season, but I'm not going to say that this is all Arteta's fault and we have to go back and do a history lesson on the last 2 seasons of low blocks and stuff like that. Our players just weren't on it today at certain points. I think Bukayo Saka was probably the only person who consistently for the entire 90 minutes was trying to do something. And I also think, well, we're going to get into Gyokeres later, but I don't think he was good enough either.
Okay, can I just ask you this real quick before you move on, right?
Yeah.
You said our players weren't on it today, right? And I'm not just blaming Arteta, because then players have to hold accountability as well, because they're more than good enough to beat this Wolves side, right? However, how many times are we going to do this, right? How many times are we going to do this from the sense that our players weren't on it against a 10-man Chelsea? Our players weren't on it against Aston Villa. Our players weren't on it again tonight. We see this in the past 3 years where we drop a bad performance, right? Or our players are knackered or whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden, that tends to become a consistent thing for 3, 4, 5, 6 games. And we end up getting out of jail like we did, like I say, when Reece Nelson scored that winner against Bournemouth, when Jorginho scored that last-minute winner against Aston Villa. However, these things can't continue to keep happening, because otherwise we ain't going to be sitting here in May holding a Premier League title. We're not.
I mean, to be honest with you, based on how I saw the individuals perform, I can say it's on the players. Just when I'm seeing guys moving slowly, misplacing the passes, not winning their duels, when that's happening, I know for a fact that is on the players. I don't know why they were like that. Some of them are like that today, but I can't put that on Arteta, especially when certain players are performing really, really well, like Bukayo Saka today. I just can't. And I understand that there's a little bit of a crash out. I'm very upset with the performance, but but winning does matter, and I am happy with the win. I'm glad that we got the 3 points, because that's what people don't want to hear, but that's what champions do. We do just go out there and win. I've seen City go out there and scam wins over and over and over again. I think in the last 3 wins. Please let me finish this one. When the last 3 wins, I think 2 of City's wins were like Fugazi. Like, we saw them scrap their wins, they get the points, and now they're 2 points behind us chasing. I think it's important to get this win, and I'm really happy that we actually went and secured the 3 points.
Do you know what the difference is with City, though, right? City don't struggle to score goals. City might, like against Fulham, for example, they conceded 4 and they won the game 5-4, but there was 5-1 up, right? So the game was effectively pretty much almost done anyway. I know it ended up being closer than what it should have been in the end. Our problem is unless we're scoring from set pieces today or own goal, like when it comes to breaking down low blocks, we really struggle in front of goal. You can't win games when you're struggling in front of goal. Defensively, sound as a pound we are, right? And I was surprised that we conceded today. But the problem comes from scoring goals, especially when breaking down low blocks. Arteta has got to do something about that. And these players have got to be allowed to have a bit more freedom and move that ball quicker, because time and time again, we see this. How many players were having pot shots from outside the box when you can't break this team down? None. 65 minutes before we have a shot on target. What? And we've seen this over and over again, bro. Do you know what I mean?
I want to jump to Jason for a second. I want to jump to Jason for a second. Jason, you said you're not having that a minute ago, that other teams and teams that won titles in the past have won games they maybe didn't deserve to win. Why are you not having that?
Because the thing is, we haven't won a league title anyway. Other teams have. They've done it and been there and done that. We can't keep on getting away with the same thing again and again. Like Brandon just literally said, we've done this against Bournemouth. We did it against a few other teams as well in the past. And it led to jack shit. I'm telling you, I can get gassed if I wanted to, but at the end of the day, I know where my team is. I know how my team does under pressure when it comes to the crucial moments of the season. And I'm not getting carried away with that. It's a good win. I lost my voice. I was in the North Bank today. I'm just like, yeah, I'm buzzing. But the performance today is not good enough. And I'm like, yeah, we got away with that against a team that got 2 points all season. And I'm just like, we should be sacking this team today. I bought a last minute ticket today, yeah, expecting a 4 or 5-0. I couldn't care less, regardless. Literally. But then again, it's the same old shit. It's been happening for the last 6 weeks. Yes, you may call it as a blip. Yes, you may kind of be like, yes, we're going through a little bit of a phase, but the attack, the transition from defense to attack, the way we move the ball has not been good at all season. And you can see. I saw Don's comment last, I think it was like 2 days ago in Straight Facts. I mean, Pedro Neto scored more goals than all our attackers. And I'm just saying, is that a problem? Is the attackers are a problem this season? And I'm just like, yeah, we got Victor Gyokeres. No matter what we got, Victor Gyokeres is Isaac or.
You don't think so? So, Jason, you don't think your attack's been good at all this season? I swear I've had you on this show praising Arsenal about how good you look in attack.
Bro, this can I say something, Terry? This is why Arsenal fans.
No, certain games. I just say certain teams. A certain team.
People like you, bro.
Certain games we did,
bro, because people like you. It winds me up.
Against
bro, stop crying.
Against Tottenham. I'm not crying. The thing is, I'm not crying. Yeah, certain games.
Now,
certain games we looked well. Certain games we looked well, but certain games I'm just like, yo, where are we?
We over exaggerate all the time. Yes, today wasn't good. No one's gonna sit here and say today was a good game, but we over exaggerate all the time, bro. Now we're going on about with Chelsea. This Neto scored more now in our attack. We should be worried, bro. Stop being reactionary. Yes, we're having a dip right now. We can all see that. I personally am still, I know he ain't an attacker, but I still think this stems from the Gabriel injury. But regardless of what it is, we're having a dip right now, yeah? And the fact of the matter is, we've lost to Villa, and that's it. We drew with Chelsea. And people would argue the two teams we lost to, we dropped points to, are two of the best teams currently in the league, bar Man City, right? So even though it's been a dip, it's not been a dip. Like what you said, bro, about Arsenal in the past, we ain't won a league. Arsenal in the past, yeah, we probably lose 2 or 3 of these games that we haven't. So there is a difference there. Look, today I was annoyed. Yeah, I thought the football gods started laughing at certain men, people like Don and that, because the second that goal went in, these men had hard-ons. These men were in the chats bashing one out or something. And then the football god said, nah, you're not having that today. And we got lucky. And we did. And every team, apart from, we're so used to teams running away with the league titles. This is what's happened. Our minds have been changed and altered to think that teams that run away with it every year. That's not the normal thing in football. If you go back the last 20 years and look at all the seasons, that's not the normal. Yeah. And what that's happened is you look at teams like Liverpool running away and you think they didn't really have a dip because halfway through the season, they've got no pressure on them. So it's easier to go on without the dip. Every team normally has a dip, and it's just so happened that our dips haven't happened now, and we've had quite a few injuries. The injuries are coming back. That's not an excuse for today's game. Should have done better, should have created more. Gyokeres should have done better today. Martinelli should have done better today. Trossard, when he come on, should have done better today. Eze should have done better today. For me, this was the game for Odegaard to start. Arteta didn't do that. I personally think we missed Calafiori today, because I think from that left-hand side, you do notice that he pops up in attacking positions a lot more and helps us create a bit more. But listen, I'm not going to sit here and start crying, going, oh, that's it, we're not winning the league now because we beat Wolves. We're not going to win the league now because we beat Wolves. Our attack ain't that good because we beat Wolves. Yes, 2 own goals. It happens.
Hang on. Let me ask you this. Who's our highest scoring attacker this season?
In all competitions?
No, in Premier League. In Premier League.
Probably Trossard. I don't know. I don't really pay attention.
It's Trossard, right? Trossard scored 6 goals for Arsenal in the Premier League this season. 3 of them have come from the bench. So for you to sit there and say that our attack's not a problem, right? When we've got the likes of Trossard, who's coming off the bench and doing the business, fair play. Martinelli's not coming up with enough goals. Saka's not coming up with enough goals. Yeah, okay, he's bringing the assists and he's bringing other he's providing for other players. That's fair. You know, we can allow that. But you've got a guy there who was one of the most potent strikers in Europe, and we cannot even get the ball to him, let alone get a tune out of him. And now the difference with Arsenal and Man City is Man City haven't got scorers all over, but they've got a guy called Erling Haaland who's going to bag 20 to 30 goals. So to sit there and say our attack's not a problem in this situation, I think is a blatant lie, to be honest with you.
See, that's not what I said. I'm not saying that we ain't got to have a few like worries about our attack and have to alter a few things and maybe think. I'm asked Terry in the groups. I'm like almost Gyokeres defense league. Everyone's at me every week as soon as Gyokeres has a stinker because I always back him. And I'm actually one of the ones saying that I don't think it's all on him. I think that we need to change our system to suit him. The wingers, I think they're greedy. Today, I watched this top time, in my opinion, Martinelli should be squaring that to Gyokeres instead of shooting before he come off the pitch. And I think Gyokeres probably taps it in. That didn't happen. We don't know. Last game with Gyokeres, Saka got lucky against Brentford to score that goal, but he should have squared it to Gyokeres, and he gets a tap in. So I agree that the attack has to be tweaked to suit Gyokeres. And I'm not saying it's, oh my God, we got the best attack in the world. I'm saying about the reaction from people as soon as we don't look amazing that we're not going to win the league now, and it's like, oh my God, Neto. I'm hearing man saying Neto has more goals. Like that's a thing. Like I think that's
good. It's on.
Can I just ask you another question? One real quick question. Do you think Arteta will tweak it?
I think I don't know. I think he's come out himself and said in press conferences that we need to find a way to get Gyokeres in. Now, is he finding it? I don't know if he's trying. I feel like he might be, but I think that for me personally, I think Odegaard has to be in the team. I think Odegaard has to be our number 10. Yeah. For us to have a striker like that, getting the goals like an Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland, he scores loads of goals. When he was doing his best work, this season he's been brilliant, but when he was doing his best work, he had De Bruyne behind him. I think Odegaard needs to be in this team for Gyokeres to work. I don't think it works as much with Eze in the 10.
Not just Odegaard has to be in the team, by the way.
No,
Arsenal have to move the ball a lot quicker than what we do.
And I also
it's a system-based thing.
Brandon, let me just jump in for a minute. I agree with you. I think everybody does. You've got to move the ball quicker. What I would say about your manager, watching him on the sidelines, you can see him screaming at your players for the tempo to go up. Eze is a great point in this because I think you are right. He'd pick the ball up when he's a Palace player and run at people. But that's because no one sits this deep against Palace. This is the one thing that Eze's got to learn. Gyokeres is now learning shit. Look how fucking deep that line is today. You were 1-0 up and they still had 11 men behind the ball up until about the 85th minute of the game. My question is, barring moving the ball quicker, what else do you want players? Eze is not a passer like an Odegaard. He isn't a creator like a KDB or a Bruno Fernandes. He is someone that's more about dribbling. He is more about taking people on. You mentioned Gyokeres. He needs that space to run in behind. How else do you create? What else do you want to see him do rather than move the ball quickly? What is the solution, in your opinion?
Well, this is where Arteta comes into the thing, right? Because I've said it before and time again. Arsenal are far too safe with the ball. How many times? You know, we picked up on this last season, Arsenal get to the byline, and if they can't cross the ball in, we go backwards. And then, like, there was a free kick today, right? Yeah. It's not in the most dangerous position, but it's in a position where you can put the ball in the box. Declan Rice, what does he do? Passes it straight back to David Raya. It's always about retain the ball. Who's playing the risky pass to try and get Gyokeres in on goal? Who's playing the risky pass that, you know, Bruno Fernandes for Manchester United would play, right? Bruno Fernandes gets a lot of criticism for Manchester United, but he will play a risky pass and potentially lose the ball. But that 1 or 2 times, it might come off and they might score a goal from it. Arsenal don't have anybody in this team that is willing to play a risky pass because we are so focused on keep the ball. It'll come eventually. My question is, why is it 2 players in Havertz and Marino, who are effectively midfielders converted to false nines, can get in better positions, better goal-scoring positions, and can score more goals than a guy who's an actual striker, who's one of the most potent in world football last season, and we can't even get him the ball? How is that possible?
So this is great, and I want to open up as a real question and not so rhetorical to the viewers as well. Is Gyokeres right for Arsenal? Is Gyokeres struggling in the Arsenal team, or is it the Arsenal players are not finding him? 5 touches in the first half of the game. He had one or two shots in the second half that he had, but he doesn't look like he's tearing things up. Like, from your point of view, I'm going to go to Anton first on this. What have you made of Victor Gyokeres so far as an Arsenal player, considering the hype and expectation that came in with him?
To be honest, I just think, look, we had an entire conversation about this about 4 or 5 hours ago with me and Cal and Seb. I think we broke it down pretty to a T. I think he's just been very, very unlucky, to be honest. To be honest, I haven't seen enough of him playing poorly per se for me to say he's been poor, if that makes sense. I do think there's a big part of this where the team isn't finding him. They're not creating enough of an effort to get him the ball in the right positions. I don't think that we've got the right left-sided players to be able to try to get him the ball. Arsenal Inside Out posted a really, really good short, and I got to give him credit. And me and Kyle looked at that with Seb, and we broke that down. And yeah, we most of Gyokeres' successes here has come off of the left. His ability to maybe even sometimes switch and get onto the left. The service, the Eze goal, the Eze assist for him against Leeds comes from the left, and it's quick, it's decisive. And at the moment, it's like as if the players are just not making it a point to try to get this guy the ball. And the people, the discussion around Gyokeres for me, by the way, is wrong. I think people have seen a few clips of him on YouTube and been like, okay, the only way that he's ever going to get success is by getting the ball in behind. He needs to get in behind. And you're not watching enough of him him at Sporting, or Gyokeres is able to score in so many different ways. You can get him the ball even outside the box. Give him a chance to shoot. He can score from outside the box. He scores free kicks. He scores penalties. He scored goals of all different types. And yet we're still not able to give him the ball. He's getting half chances at best. And look, do I think he's not performing to my expectations? Absolutely. Absolutely he's not. But I just think we need to better analyze what's going on. Because I feel like we're 1-0 down today, and everyone's just talking about Gyokeres. And what I'm seeing is Zubimendi not being able to get him the ball today. Rice not being able to get the ball today. Eze not able to get them the ball today. And they're forcing it, and it's almost as if they've lost that composure and their edge to just be able to thread a nice ball into their striker. And just to
back up your point, by the way, let's just look at where the positions where Gyokeres receives the ball, right? Predominantly, when he does get the ball, he receives the ball very, very deep, right? Which is what you would want from somebody like a Kai Havertz or somebody like a Marino, right? Which is why I say this is an Arteta problem that he needs to fix. However, there's an example today where Gyokeres receives the ball in the box, chests it down, turns his man, and has a shot, right, which goes across goal. Should have done better with the finish. But when you get the guy in that position inside the box where he can literally chest it down, turn his man, and have a shot.
Brandon, you don't think this is necessarily Gyokeres not being good enough. It's about he isn't being given enough of a supply line.
It's not that he's not being given enough of a supply line, and he's being asked to do something that he's not comfortable doing, right? Havertz and Marino are quite comfortable to drop deep and link up play. That's not Gyokeres' game. It never has been Gyokeres' game. He's that guy who gets into the right positions inside the box and just outside of the box. You can give him the ball, and you know that he's a decent finisher in front of goal, right? You can also give the ball to him over the top because he's got a decent amount of pace. But if you want this guy you want to rely on this guy's first touch and allow him to bring others into play, that's the weakest part of his game. It's the weakest part of his game. So you have to get this guy in the right positions in the box. We did it today. He chests the ball down. He turns his man. He has a shot. It's not the greatest shot. He could have done better with the shot. But that's where you want Gyokeres. You don't want Gyokeres nearabouts on the halfway line trying to bring Bukayo Saka and Martinelli into the game who are sprinting off down the touchline. That's not his game.
I hear that. Giuseppe, what's your thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, for me, I feel a bit bad for Gyokeres as well, because first of all, I think he come in without a pre-season to one of the most pressurized, if not the most pressurized team in world football right now, in the sense of we need to go and win a title, and the manager's been here X amount of time. We've needed a striker for so long. He's finally come in. Now we've got the striker. So there's a huge amount of pressure on him. Bearing in mind, we haven't played for years with an actual striker. Arteta's system's never really been with a striker. And I think I'll get to that in a second. And then I think he started looking like he started getting a bit to grips with it a bit more, gets the injury. Then he comes back from the injury now, and he's coming to a point where the team itself is having a blip, and we're not playing that good, creating that much as a whole. So I feel a bit sorry for him. And I also feel sorry for him because I think the media have made him a target personally. And I know people say they've made him a target because you don't hear him saying the same thing about Isaac. You don't hear him saying it about Delap or João Pedro or any of these other guys who ain't outscoring him. It just seems to be targeted at him, and it's because there ain't been much else about Arsenal to talk about. The one thing I'm disappointed with is Arsenal fans jumping on the bandwagon so much as well. I think at the end of the day, do I think he's been good enough? No. Am I going to sit there just roasting him every single game in the group chat as much as the rivals? No, bro. Have some shame. The Arsenal fans, really, we are the reason we get clowned so much because we join in. People clown us and we join in. Other teams, their players 100%. Their players get clowned and they're defending them to the rooftops, to the nth degree. They're defending these guys. Our supporters don't do it. They jump in. They start calling him concrete boots and all that. Just have some shame, Arsenal fans. That's that. When I watch us as a team and in the sense of style we're playing with him, I see it clear as day every game, in my opinion, and it's not necessarily their fault. Our wingers do not play the way a winger plays to look for a striker. They play, and their first thing is, how do I create a goal for myself? Martinelli, Saka, obviously, they assist. I'm not saying that. They do get people involved. But more or less, Saka, when you even look at it, his first thought is, can I get a goal here? If he can't, then he'll look to create a chance. I think these guys need to say, you know what, we're wingers. Yes, we need to score goals, but we need to create for this guy. Yeah, I think Odegaard and Gyokeres haven't really played together, and I do think that for Gyokeres to really work, Odegaard and him need to create a partnership. But I just think it's too early. I got clowned earlier, Terry, by Don and Staffy and that, because I said you've got to give a player a season at least. These men are clowning me. I don't understand why they're clowning me. It takes time for players to get into the system.
Well, look, the thing is, you're right, Giuseppe, in terms of people need time to settle. And the problem is that rivals aren't going to give any Arsenal player that time, any United player that time. They'll give their own players that time, though. And we all do the same thing. And that's why I think, look, there are times where it's right to criticize your own players. There are times where I think as fans, we're called fans because we're meant to be fanatical about our own football clubs. There are times where you've just got to... I look at it like... Me and Staffy had this debate before, and I view it a little bit like sometimes when you're out with your mates. Your mate might have been a dick, and it goes off a little bit. But you know what? Publicly, in front of everyone else, you got his back. Maybe when you're back in the taxi on the way home or you get back to someone's house, you might have a pop at him and say, do that again, I'll give you a slap. But there are times in life, whether it's friends, best friends, family, kids, your football team, your place of work, your work colleagues, there are times where you just, I consider what standing on business is. You stand shoulder to shoulder with what you consider yours and you back it, even if you don't want to. You sort of back it, you know, almost like blood is thicker than water type thing. And I think right now what Gyokeres needs is Arsenal fans to have his back and not join. I agree with you. I think criticism is right, but don't join in with the clowning. Don't join in with the reason why I think a lot of football fans do that. It's a safety net. It's a comfort blanket. Because if you're an Arsenal fan online and today you join in with slagging off Gyokeres, rivals leave you alone, don't they? They leave you alone because you're joining in with them. And people don't want to feel that heat. So I think he does need Arsenal fans to put their arm around his shoulder more than he needs them getting on his back. And I actually agree. I think that Martinelli, that shot right at the end, if it goes in, great. Square the ball for a tap in, help your striker out a little bit. If The amount of times Haaland scores because players pass the ball to him rather than trying to shoot and score from obscure angles. That's what, again, he's an elite finisher. That's why he scores a lot of goals. But could you imagine if they stopped cutting the ball back to him and just shot every time? He'd be doing his nut. You've got to feed him more. I agree.
Can I add one thing to that, Terry? Because a lot of the stuff that you just said just sunk home with me. And we were sitting in the group chat today. And I don't want to call Negative Dan out because everybody here knows that me and him are very good friends. But he goes, come on, Anton. Even the crowd is
Negative Dan call out. Negative Dan call out. All calls to Negative Dan.
We're sitting in the group chat and he goes, come on, Anton. Even the crowd is asking him to get subbed off. And I say, that's the problem. What the crowd needs to be doing when the player is low on confidence and needing his support is singing, he comes from Sweden, the girls are very nice, all that, the whole song. Sing it over and over and over and over again. Let him know that you are behind him, that you believe in him. And you know what that does for a guy? That you puff your chest. You're like, all right, everyone who loves me, let me do something for the crowd here. Instead, people say, you fuck off, sub him out. He's terrible. Boo. Every time what do you like? We literally spent so much money on this guy. We've been asking for a striker, and all of a sudden, Havertz and Jesus as the answer. If they were the answer, why haven't we won a title already?
His confidence is on the floor as well, bro. His confidence is on the floor. And as a striker out of any position, confidence is so key. Confidence is key for any player, but as a striker, even more. His confidence is on the floor right now. This guy is used to scoring every game, scoring hat-tricks every month. And he's coming and it's harder for him, bro. And the thing is, and I'm not going to sit here and say it's good enough. He's got to improve himself. He also, because there's stuff that even is on him. There's stuff that ain't on him, and there is stuff that's on him. But I also look at the confidence thing as a reason for that touch, that little dodgy touch. Is it because when the ball's coming to him, he's overthinking it? What can I do? I need to do. I can't F up again. Everyone's on my back. That's what happens to these players. I think, listen, you're right about everyone saying that Havertz needs to come back. Everyone, all of a sudden, now Havertz ain't the most hated guy by certain Arsenal fans. Havertz, for the longest time, was the guy. He was the hated guy. Chelsea reject. We got him out.
Arsenal fans are basically, our fan base is search and destroy, to be honest. It's search and destroy with whatever player they don't like at the moment. Yeah. And they just freaking pivot. Well, it's going to be Havertz. Now Havertz hasn't been playing for almost a really long time. I need to focus on someone else. That's going to be.
And it always goes. When Havertz starts, it always goes.
Yeah, and when Havertz starts missing, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be Jesus is the answer. When Jesus starts missing, it's going to be God damn it. We really should have been playing Gyokeres.
What I find very interested as an outsider looking in, and Jason, you're here, so I'll say it to you. And Brandon's another, and I'm ashamed he's gone, just listening. And I'll ask him the next time he's here. Is when you guys were on really good form a few weeks ago, it was all sunshine and rainbows and loving it. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't criticize today, but the tone is almost, tonight, the tone is almost, this is why I knew we couldn't win anything. But when you were winning, it wasn't, I'm not bothered about the good performances because I know it's going to fall apart. It's the changing of the tune that I'm intrigued by as an outsider. There are some people, there are some Arteta outers that even when you look good, in fairness to them, they don't overly celebrate because they don't believe. What I'm intrigued by are the Arsenal fans, that when you're winning and winning well, it's, I love it, this is amazing, we've got up a level. You have a little bad period or a little setback or a dodgy game, and this is why I never have faith in the team. It's almost like you hurt yourselves almost. Like 1 minute you have faith, then you don't have faith. There's guys that have faith and then can criticize and go, well, I'm back to believing tomorrow. There's guys that have no faith and never develop any. But then there's guys like yourself, Jason and Brandon. You seem to like...
I never said that.
Emotional.
No, to be fair. No, hold on. Today, I never once said that we're not going to win the league or anything like that. I just criticize the performance. I'm criticizing how we actually played. That's it.
Okay. So you may not have used those words, but what you actually said was we haven't attacked well all season. Now,
certain parts of the season, I would say that we did well attacking wise. I mean, to be fair,
emotional side. I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by the topsy-turvy nature. And that's one thing I would say. The Arteta in as an outers annoy me because so much of their identity is based on being right about the manager. But the one thing I like about both groups is they're quite resolute in terms of I think we can win it or I don't think we will. Where you get the guys in between, it's that you never know what you do you know what I mean? They're like a lucky dip. You don't know what you're going to get. It's amazing.
But to be fair, No, to be fair, certain games, that Tottenham game, we attacked really well. Certain other games, we actually had the handbrakes off. For example, the Leeds game. For example, the other game, I think the recently where we actually played well recently. I think Club Brugge one, we had the handbrake off. Certain games we did attack well, but certain games I have some questions as well. I have certain questions. That's it. That's all I have. That's all I have. It doesn't mean I'm slagging off the manager.
Can I ask a question as well? Do you think there may also be an element of you expected to win 5-6-7-0 today and didn't take into consideration? Look, when I said I thought Wolves might beat us, it's because I've watched quite a lot of Wolves' games this year. They haven't been as bad in a lot of their games as their results dictate. We even had Wolfie. Now, Wolfie is probably the biggest Arsenal-hating rival fan online, but he's a great guy, Wolfie. When the United played them, and I'm saying I'm worried, everyone's laughing. He's going, what are you guys laughing at? He goes, they're really not as bad as people think they are. That's also maybe part of this, where if you got into your own head, you were going to win 6 or 7-0 today, and then the performance goes the way it does, rather than Wolves are going to sit 11 men behind the ball, be like the Rock of Gibraltar that's going to be hard to move. Do you think maybe
this is why I was annoyed, sir? This is why I was annoyed, Terry. This is why I was annoyed, because I had high expectations for this game. I thought we were going to win 4-0, 5-0 here and there, but then again, they sat back. I mean, as expected, as everyone did all season. So that's why I was a bit annoyed, because my expectation wasn't met. That's why. Other than that, I was celebrating. I was jolly. 90th minute winner. I was jumping around. You can see in the chat. I was just like, yo, I was buzzing. Other than that, all I wanted was 3 points. But the reason why I'm crashing out here and there, etc., because the attack. That's all for today. That's all.
Can I ask something, Jason?
Sorry, mate.
Is a bit of that because it followed the Man United game as well, and they did so well against them, and then we don't do so well? Is part of it because of that?
No. It's not that, because we're top of the league and moved the bottom. So it's one of those things. That's
I mean, to be honest, I saw that Wolves performance against.
I can't speak to Jason, but I watched.
It's Wolves, isn't it?
Hang on, I watched the preview of quite a lot of certain types of Arsenal fan, and it was we should be winning 5-0, 6-0. United did this. If we don't, it's over. And my first thought was you might win a very good 3-0 tonight. That's not a bad. We've got to remember that League team in the season averaged 2.7 goals per game. When people start like it has to be 5 or I'm fuming or above, you have to start looking at yourself and realizing that teams rarely score that amount of goals in games. Calm yourself down a bit. That being said, Arsenal are nowhere near the level that's expected. It hasn't been a good few weeks for yourselves, Cal. What do you sort of put that down to? Like you had the Spurs winning those 6 games, which was good. But the other games outside that, even Brentford at home, a little lackluster, a little bit up against it at times. What do you put that down to? We're going to go to Super Chats in a minute. A few people in the comments have suggested that the pressure could be mounting. Do you think it's that, Cal?
I actually don't think it's pressure. I think it's I think defensively we've been woeful. I think that's probably the biggest point, and we haven't really spoken about it. I think compared to what we were doing at the start of the season, we are conceding so many more chances in every single game. Even against Club Brugge, we conceded a lot of chances. You know, we're not as defensively resolute. And it's also why we've been conceding goals in the last minute of games. I think that's quite concerning to me. That's more concerning than any Gyokeres conversation that we've been like forcing the fan base to have, because we, again, in the dying minutes of a game, sit behind the ball, invite that pressure when we have 10 minutes to play, and we concede. And it's been happening every game now. I mean, we got bailed out with a goal, and I'm happy with the 3 points. Don't get me wrong, but I wanted to break something when we conceded. When we conceded again. That could have been it. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big problem to me. You know, like, why are we sitting back in these games?
I think every single one of these games as well, we've had a different back line.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It makes no sense.
Ben White coming off completely disabled the back line because everyone's swapping positions. That makes it even worse.
But when I'm watching, it's Wolves pushing into our box, and we are literally 5 yards behind them, just waiting for them to come into the box. It doesn't make sense. We're not trying to put any pressure on the players. We're not trying to win the ball back. Every time we get the ball back, we're not trying to play out. We're just booting it to the halfway line. Like, like if we're a bottom half team, we've done it and it doesn't work, and we keep doing it over and over and over again, and it's probably the most concerning trend that I've seen in the past 5 games. And if we continue to do that in these games, we're gonna continue to concede, and maybe we don't bring it back like we do today, because there's a very, very good chance that we don't score a goal again today and we drop another 2 points. So I think that's been the biggest issue. And as I said, the instability without having Gabriel and Saliba both in the back is just we just don't look as good. We're a team where we've praised Arsenal for our defense, and we've kind of built our team on defense first. And I think mentally we are defense first. And I think the reason why we're not seeing the attack work that well is because defensively we just aren't as sound, and we have players that have to run back and win more balls back, and they're not concentrated on the attack because they're too worried about what's happening on the defense.
It's a great point. And look, the season, over the course of a season, things evolve. Teams will go, right, no one could get near Arsenal. You work on new things, you try new things, and there's new ways to get penetrated, new ways to get beat. And I think that's where, again, it's about adapting to that as a club as well. That's the great thing about a Premier League season, is that teams often have to adapt within a season a couple of times because you can be worked out as well. It's funny actually though, because a few people have messaged me saying, "Oh, Terry, like you seem really relaxed about this." I just want to say very quickly, I don't support Arsenal.
No, you do. You should read your chat. You definitely do.
This is the thing, right? If you ever wanted proof, watch me before we play Man United play Wolves versus Arsenal. I'm like, yeah, I think Arsenal will be fine. One thing I will say though, and I said it earlier when I did my breakdown of the game, and I know that someone messaged me going, "Terry, I know we won, but it feels like a loss." I get it. But I will tell you this: if you do go on to win the league, if you are a believer that Arsenal will win the league, you will look back at a result like tonight and go, "What an important 3 points that ended up with that cross from Saka, that own goal." Could be the difference come the end of the season, because I think whoever wins it is winning it marginally. This here says from Jandowski says Gyokeres constantly doesn't get good deliveries. The problem is in the 10 position, Odegaard, Eze, none of the players in that role are Ozil.
I find that funny because the whole time that Ozil was an Arsenal player, he just kept getting roasted by the Arsenal fans. I don't think
Odegaard's had a great run in the team this season with the injuries and that either. I think that's harsh with
Odegaard. Okay, Rob's there, but there we go. How are you complaining and you're top of the league? This post-win energy is wild.
I mean, it wasn't a good performance, but I do think sometimes we kind of have to be happy with the points. You know what's really funny, right? I actually think, let's just say, I'm going to get a magic wand here. I'm Harry Potter, and Man United become genuine title contenders next year. I don't think Man United fans will suffer with the PTSD you guys do, because in our minds, I know we haven't challenged for 13 years, 14 years, but every title race we've been in, we've either won it or only narrowly missed out. But I still feel, as a United fan in my mind, I feel like we've won most of our title races. Does that make sense? I don't think about
your fans already think that you're still there.
I mean, no, but what I mean is if we were genuinely in a title race, I'm not scared of it. I'm not like, oh, we'll lose, because my view as a United fan, again, it's past trauma, I suppose, was even when we didn't win it, we go again next year and we win it. Where I think with Arsenal fans, what I can see just looking at you guys, even the ones that love Arteta and think you're going to win it, every little setback, you can just see the nerves and the panic come out of all of you. So I look at a win like today. A lot of gooners disagree with me when I say like champions win. And it's because when my club won games like this, when we were genuinely good enough to win the league, it invariably led to us winning titles. Where with you guys, you've had so many false storms, you've lost so many. I didn't even realize today, because you forget these things, that at this stage of the season in 02-03, you guys were absolutely clear at the top of the league. United were like 6th on like 8-9 points behind you, we went on to win the league. So I'm sorry for the damage that my clubs have done to you guys, because you don't even enjoy nights like tonight. It's crazy.
I think it's also it's Man City as well, man. The fact that they've kind of crept up.
I get that.
You know where you got to enjoy it as well, because you've got teams, you've got people like Don, I'm going to call him out again, clowning me because we didn't smash them. They're 8 points behind us and they're clowning us for not smashing them because they smashed them.
Dude, the Chelsea fans are like crazy.
Yeah.
They're insane.
And the thing is, we feed them. We feed them by being negative when we win. Forget it. We can have our chats. We can be a bit critical, but enjoy the wins. A win's a win. If you win, when the same way people say these wins mean nothing if you don't win the league. These wins mean nothing if you don't win the league. Yeah, so enjoy them, because if you do then go and win the league, yeah, they do matter. It don't matter how you won them. If we win the league at the end of the season, it don't matter how we won this game.
I mean, I want to ask this question, guys. For everyone on the panel, right? If City drop points tomorrow to Palace, is this not a good win? Because
it's a good win anyway.
It's a good win anyway, whether they win or not. It's 3 points.
I agree.
We had big pressure on this game.
Let's jump through some more of these super chats here. It says top of the Prem, top of the Champions League, and nothing but crying. This ain't FC 26. Players have streaks and sometimes play down to competition, but drone on. It's very true, Carlton. Very true. But again, I'm not emotionally invested. You wanted to rest the whole team,
this
Brandon.
Is what I find really bizarre, right? So you get these people that come on and basically go, "Oh, we want all the team rotated. We want Ranieri playing. We want all the youngsters playing," and then you crash out because you don't get the win. And you've got to pick a lane. You can't have them both.
Do you know what I would say about with rotating? I actually thought he'd rotate a few more today, but then you haven't got a game for a week, have you? So there's a whole week rest. But what it might have done if Rice and Saka and a few others weren't in the team, maybe Wolves open up a little bit more and go at you because they think, oh, we fancy this a little bit more than your first team out there. So there is a side to it. But equally, Brandon did ask for that, I remember. Against Club Brugge, scored 2 from distance, and he didn't like that. He wants only perfect goals. I've seen this 1,000 times. You don't think Arteta like those goals?
Oh my god, man!
Wait. This isn't an Arteta dig, is it?
No, I think he might. No, AMT. Maybe not. I don't know. AMTV. AMT. Let us know who you're. Are you talking about Arteta or are you talking about? I thought. My first gut feeling was talking about Brandon. But I don't think Brandon would mind a shot from outside the box. I don't know.
Actually, he actually did make. Brandon did say that we're taking pot shots from outside the box, during the game, which is probably why we scored against Bruges. So I think it's a bit. You can't really have it both ways. You can't praise us for scoring outside the box and then criticize the team from shooting outside the box.
Yeah, but they're not pop shots. But the ones we scored ain't pop shots. So
do you know what I like? Do you know what I like about Standard FC though? They're here going, yes, it's simple, either win or fuck off. Yeah, but then it's just, you're the guys that are really angry about winning tonight. It's that's what I find so funny about Standards FC. It's like win or leave my club. You win a game this way. Don't want to win like that though. We all know you'll change your tune. We know you'll change your tune.
We'll win the league and we'll win the league.
To with barely getting goals.
We win the league and you just got to go.
Gyokeres for 90 minutes.
We might have won the league, but against Wolves, you scored 2 own goals.
But if City do that, right, it's like the best thing since sliced bread. But
why? The reason I'm telling you, the reason this is because City fans themselves don't say anything. City fans themselves say what you want, we don't care. It's Arsenal fans ourselves. Not us here, but Arsenal fans in
equally
general,
though. The PTSD thing, could it not like sort of bring it all on itself? Like I suffer with cardiophobia, and I've spoke about this publicly before, and I'm going to literally do it to myself speaking about it now. But I don't have anxiety in general life, but I have anxiety over having a heart attack. But sometimes when I start thinking about it and talking about it, it brings back like PTSD of like horrible panic attacks I've had because of it. And then it like spirals. Maybe there's this element of just celebrate wins like today and tell the team it's going to be okay and keep it positive. Again, I'm only speaking as an outsider. I'm just thinking if your behavior is always like this when you have these moments because you feel PTSD, but then the team starts to suffer, maybe change your behavior. Maybe however you feel like acting, act the other way. What's the expression? Yeah, don't speak about it. If you, just go quiet. Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, I used to be quite negative, I found it really hard work and really depressing, and I just changed my whole kind of persona and everything, and kind of tried to be in the middle and be a bit balanced, and I don't get headaches anymore. It's funny that.
It's so true. I was really trying to get rid of it, and I couldn't, and it was weird because of the way it happened and stuff. And I went to see these different therapists, and they were annoying me because every time I went to them, I'd speak about it and then get back in the car and be like, like this. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm meant to be getting better. And when I see this one lady, and she just said, my advice is for you not to go and see anyone. Just stop talking to people about it. I mean, I thought we were meant to speak about these things. She went, yes, you are when you've got anxiety or depressive issues, but it's not like one size fits all. Your thing is triggered by speaking about it. So and sometimes I could be like, I'll be in the gym, smashing it, having a great time, and then I'll think about it. And then it's like, I can't do any more exercise. So honestly, a lot of it is in your mind. So yeah, change your behaviors. This super chat here says that performance was not on the manager. If it was on the players, only Saka walks away with his head up. Declan is one of the favourite players, but ducking for the shot is not acceptable.
Absolutely bang on.
Yes,
this is the super chat of the day from Solomon.
Yeah, it's okay. Declan Rice has been one of our best players of this season, and he's probably my favorite player other than Saka in the team. That wasn't a good performance today. It's okay to say that.
I really like. I thought it was all right today. So it's funny how it was it differently. I thought it was all right.
I don't think he was good at all. I don't think he was good.
I think he was. He was. Do you know what the thing is? Like,
his levels.
Part of me that he was ill last game, right? And when you're ill, it takes a little bit of time to recover. He just weren't his same engine self. Boom, 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 all game. But you got to remember this game, how steep they sat. You've got to remember that. I don't think Rice was all that bad. I think he wasn't at his optimal best, but he weren't at a low. I think if you watch it back, I feel like you might change your tune a bit.
His corners were awful. I thought his corners really bad today. To be fair,
I think that also will make him stand out as well.
But he was the only guy that actually had a proper shot on target today as well. Maybe that's what stood out in my mind, to be fair, because that shot was pretty good. This is the same guy that complained about getting 2 goals from distance versus Bruges. Can't take this. Oh, so that must have been my AMC. So Brandon was moaning about 2 shots from distance against Bruges. I don't even remember hearing that on the show.
Wait, there's no way, right? There's no way. Those are amazing.
About that and then moan about not taking pop shots.
I'm not complaining about scoring any goals.
Brandon,
ever.
Come back, Brandon. Didn't we just cruise versus Bruges? 3 points is the best possible result. How many did we get? Brandon is acting like the sky is falling. Shake my head.
Yeah, it's just PTSD, man. That's why he was bringing up from 2 seasons. Yeah. It's PTSD.
Yeah.
Absolute beautiful win. Beautiful. Oh, yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. Bottom left dude speaks with clarity. Thank you. I think that was when Giuseppe was bottom left. Cal. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, what?
Sorry, bro.
Big up to both of you guys. We'll stay to clarity as well. Okay. Let's
Ginger Bish here says, I'm calling it now. Arsenal will crumble after Christmas and City will win the league again. 2 own goals to beat 2-point Wolves isn't title winning quality.
Sorry, my friend. You probably forgot what title winning quality even looked like based on your profile picture. But I'm just going to say this. On our last title, in our last title charge season, people were saying that over. I don't consider last season a title charge. That was just Liverpool running away with it. When I'm talking about, I remember 23-24 when we were pushing for the title. People would said this at Christmas, then they said it at January, February, March, April, May. I don't believe this. I really don't.
The last time we win the title race, because last season don't count, we went from January to the end of the season and only dropped points twice.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal won ugly today, which you have to do at times. Well, the thing is, what will be very interesting is if City win ugly tomorrow. Now, I know Palace are a better team and they're away from home, and I get the context there is different. The same people panicking will have a different view, but I do agree with you guys. I think it is like watching Brandon now compared to what it was like after you smashed up Spurs like 3 weeks ago. It's like he's like a different human being. It's PTSD. You're right, Brandon. We're here for you, sir. Tell the guy in in black to pipe down. Well, it could be,
that
it
was
could
Brandon.
be UK. That could be UK. That was Brandon. It was definitely Brandon.
I'm like, damn.
Cal's wearing a black t-shirt. Arteta does need to change the instructions to play more through the centre where Gyokeres is always making the runs. The issue is with that, though, to defend Arteta, it's where teams crowd the game out. There is very little room in the centre. They leave space on the outside for balls to be whipped into the box. And I haven't seen an update on the graphics, but I saw them about 8-9 games in. They got released by Sky. The depth that teams play versus Arsenal is lower than against anybody else in the team. I'll give you an example. Brentford at the Etihad were on the halfway line. Brentford on the halfway. What Arsenal would do for teams to sit on their halfway line and defend is crazy. So I do get your point, but it is difficult when teams just throw 9 to 10 men into that area and make it very congested. My pushback to you, and it's a great super chat, is what should they do in that? How do you circumvent that in your opinion?
We need to give our wingers. We need to give our wingers a assist bonus for assisting Gyokeres. Give them a little payout every time they assist him.
Yeah, more money.
They'll soon slot the. They'll soon square the.
Yeah. In the second half, when Eze played the first ball directly to Gyokeres, a dangerous situation was immediately created. He was much more involved. Listen, I agree. Moving the ball quicker is the only solution in the middle. You just got to get it in there quicker. And I do think sometimes players delay on the ball. I don't blame the manager for that, though, because you see the manager screaming for them to move the ball faster. It's why he made the substitutions very early in the second half. They weren't doing it. I must have missed all these strikers coming in hot around the league. It's just been hurt. Sorry, he's been hurt. He needs time. Top of the Prem and Champions League. Wholesale changes not needed.
Balanced take.
That is fair, to be honest with you. I mean, not many of the new strikers have done well this year. Voldemada, you'd say, has. Ekitike's killing it. Sheshko's been amazing. Do you know what I mean? There's been a few that have...
you know what's amazing, Terry? Like the entire summer you were spending, like talking about how badly you wanted Gyokeres to go to Man United. That's why I'm very curious to hear your take on this, because the whole summer you were banging the Gyokeres drum. I want him at Man United. I want him at Man United. I'm gutted that Arsenal are getting this player, right? Have you changed it like that now, or do you feel the same?
No, I mean, I still rate him as a player. I don't think he's had a great start to life in England, back in England. I don't think he has. Do I think he's as bad as people make out? No, the sort of fat shaming. There are some players, like I've had to go at Luke Shaw when he was plump. And there were times where Luke Shaw, for me, was overweight. I've seen, no Diddy stuff here. I've seen Gyokeres with his shirt off. I wish I was that fat, bruv. I wish I was that fat. Do you know what I mean? I'd love it. I don't think he's as bad as people are making out. What's happening? I think what's happened is that this year, teams have sat deeper against Arsenal, been more compact against Arsenal than any other team, and I think it's taken part of his game away. There isn't as much room to run in behind. I think had he had gone to a Newcastle, had he had gone to a Man United where there is more space, teams don't sit as deep against us, I think you'd have seen a better player. But he's being really tested. So look, I think he has got to adapt his game, because the thing is, this is one thing I disagree with a lot of people. You can't be a striker that just plays off the shoulder at Arsenal when everyone's sitting so deep against you. Because where are you going to run to? From the edge of the 6-yard box to the byline. There's that much. There's about 6 yards of space to run into if you're off the shoulder. He has to come and drop deep. He has to do these things. And I haven't been overly impressed with him. I'm not going to sit here and go, I've been blown away. I'm not going to lie, but I still don't think he's a terribly bad footballer. The one thing I said earlier that I agree with, City build their team now to create for Haaland. I still think you're a bit like, you remind me of Man United when we tried, when we had Rashford and when we had Greenwood playing either flank. We had 2 wide players that want to be goal scorers and they don't want to be creators first. They want to score first, create second. You've sort of got that with Martinelli, Trossard, Saka. I think they're goal-scoring wide players more than they are creative. They don't. Where KDB's, Phil Foden's, I think they look to create first. Cherky, I know he's not a wide player, but they look to create first. I think Doku looks to create first, where I don't necessarily think, like Brian Mbeumo at Man United, he's a goal scorer first. He's not a creative player. Does that make sense? And I think that also feeds into this a little bit as well. That being said, I think his first touch has been too heavy in a lot of games. I feel that he's doing a lot of what Rasmus used to do, which is he's getting too involved in the physical fight and not thinking about the ball. Where I think he has to just know he's got strength, know that he's as strong as most players, and think about the football as opposed to thinking about engaging in the physical side of things. So there's elements for him to improve on, but I also think your team needs to get balls in earlier to him, and you've got to look to get it across that 6-yard box sooner rather than later when he's making those runs, because he'll tap the ball in, and that's what he's there for. So it's a combination for me personally. It's a combination for me.
Yeah, but see, like, for me, I'd rather have conversations like this with you than having people tell me that he's been written off. Let's write him off. He's never going to be the striker that you want him to be. He's a failure. Rather than he's just got stuff he needs to improve on. He has to work on.
I think also personally, I think his physical attributes just wasn't as what I thought it was. And I think a lot of people thought he was going to be a lot faster than he is. I don't know, maybe his top speed's really fast, but his acceleration is just not that. It's not it.
Yeah, I will say that watching him play for Sporting, and even in the Champions League, when I saw him sprint off, for whatever reason, he looked faster. Now in the Premier League, teams are sitting deeper. There's less room to run into. And it's a very fast league, a lot of very fast, pacey centre-backs. He's not looking as quick. Like,
I don't think I've seen him win a foot race once all season. That's a problem for me. As much as I defend him and I'm defending him, that's a problem.
No, I hear you on that.
Things to criticize. I think that's fair, to be honest. But it's
just City were preparing for Haaland a season before as well. They weren't actually. They were prepared for him before he actually came in.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Big Steve on the Big Six said Gyokeres is is like a Haaland. He isn't going to create a chance, and we need to create it for him. We need Odegaard to be his KDB and not expect him to play like Moreno.
Yeah,
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Arteta is just biding his time for Kai Havertz. That's his preference. Gyokeres is used as a decoy. Not much weight on Saka's side to control turnover. Interestingly, look, I think that Kai Havertz will come back and maybe be the starting guy. That's also another argument to this. Maybe life would have been easier for Victor Gyokeres if Kai Havertz was the starting 9 and he was used from the bench to begin with. He was coming on and building his confidence rather than going straight in, because it doesn't matter your age. Not everybody joins a new team in a new league and hits the ground running. Sometimes you get your Cole Palmers, your Mo Salahs, your Erling Haalands. Other times you're more a Rodri, where it takes a year or so for you to really settle and be, a couple of years to become what you are in a team. And I just writing him off now, I'm not going to do it. He might end up not being good enough, but I'm not going to write him off just yet.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, but now I think it's too early to say so.
I agree.
That makes it sound like as well that even if Gyokeres has got 15 goals, he's still going to revert back to Havertz because that's his type. It's just nonsense. If he's scoring goals,
Havertz still has to come back to fitness. So you're going to give him a couple minutes.
I don't think it's going to be the day. I agree with that. We have an absolute donkey as a striker, is what is said here by Mr. Mohammed. The attack is one thing. Why park the bus up? One up and take on pressure. Arteta should be questioned for this, similar to Villa setting us up. I think that's a very fair point.
He actually pushed the team forwards though and said press the ball, and they just didn't.
Hate being right. Arteta out. Top Gooners out. Done. But you say winning's all that matter. You won today, bruv.
Yeah,
he can't be an Arsenal fan. He can't be.
No, he's not. He's a troll. I think he's probably one. I wonder if he's like those Liverpool fans on Twitter that like pretend to be Arsenal fans. I wonder if he's like that.
I think it's Don.
It's
Don's burner account.
Ray here says I wouldn't crash out if I was an Arsenal fan. Wolves come back to stink out the whole place with 30% possession and 2 shots on target. Good win. That's the other side of this as well. Is Wolves did not come to play football. They came to just sit 11 men behind the ball, and they tried to grab it. The only real mistake you guys made really was sitting too deep in the last 5 minutes of the game. You should have just pushed the initiative and kept
People
back.
Forget Villa only beat them 1-0 the other week as well.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at it. I think they've conceded 4 goals to United and one other team. I think it might have been City. Chelsea put 3 past them, but it's been 2s and 3s to most teams they've conceded, to be fair. They've not been getting beat up 5, 6, 7-0 by anybody really this season.
I'm so happy you conceded, by the way, because that'd be another thing. You know, 7 games. With the,
dude.
Conceded against Arsenal.
I don't know. Apparently, they had a few
We play high lines
so.
and safe passes mostly, panel. We play high lines and safe passes mostly. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, today, at least.
Yeah, I agree. Arsenal look like Stoke with that performance, is what George says
I
here.
think sometimes the build up today was just impatient, especially early on. I just kept seeing balls.
Stoke never had like 70% of the ball, bruv. Like these people that say Stoke never played against a team that had the 11 men behind the ball.
No, they certainly did not. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. Remember to go check out our title sponsors at the end of this show. If you guys want to save yourselves some money over the Christmas period, use Superchats. They are a coupon specialist. You can put the extension onto Chrome. They've got a Trustpilot rating of 4.7 out of 5. And on their website, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of different companies and websites where you can get discounts on their products. So if you're buying Christmas presents, buying things for yourselves, they're all different goods. Go and check out Cooper right now. You can click on the link in our description or in our live chat and start using and getting those savings right away. I added the extension into Google Chrome, and then whenever you're on a website shopping, essentially, it just tells you whether there's coupons available to get you a discount. So why not save a little bit of moolah? Final super chat here says we're seeing the effects of possibly skipping a pre-season. Gyokeres and Isak both miles off it. Even so, Gyokeres is just poor by Premier League standards.
I'm not talking about preseason in December, bro.
Yeah,
I'm just
I don't
not
think I'm
accepting
going
that
to.
for
I
any
went
player,
way
whether
too
it's
deep
Gyokeres
into the season.
or Isak or anyone else.
Yeah, well, 3 international breaks, for God's sake.
Yeah.
We're still talking about preseason now. I'm not doing that.
There we go. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, a big thank you to all of you. This is going to redirect you guys across to I'm checking Footy Juzmo's channel, so go and support him. He's gone live over there. Go check him out. We're back tomorrow with Killing the Game. We'll have match reactions to the City and Palace game as well. But until tomorrow, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we're going to see you all again soon. Peace.